Welcome to BigCountryPreps.com. I'm Evan Wren, and this is the Capital Farm Credit Wednesday night podcast, our weekly look at the area athletic scene, what happened last week and what's going on this week. I'm here with my partner, Dan Youngblood, via Zoom. And tonight, Dan, we've got a special guest. Alfonso Chavez, the head softball coach of Early, is going to join us. And this is a fun program that has been consistently good, but it looks like it may have kind of turned a corner with a win over Brock last week.
Yeah, obviously. Yeah, you got to see that game, a really big win for them. But you are right. This is a program that's had a lot of success under Chavez, who's been there 9 years now. And one of the things that's kind of interesting, I think, is that they're in the thick of a really, really tight district race in 8-3A, where Bangs is actually at the lead or entered this week with the only team without a district loss going in. But then you had below them Brock, Early, and Peaster all tied with one loss. So that's going to be a really fun district race to follow. And we're going to talk to Coach Chavez about that and about this team. I think that this is, like you mentioned, not only a fun program to follow, but this is a really fun team. Got a good mix of youth and experience, and they seem to be playing both well and with a lot of confidence. So it'll be a good time talking with him about that as well.
All right, before we jump into this week's show, we need to thank our primary sponsor, Capital Farm Credit, with offices all over Texas, including Stanford and Abilene. Buy your own slice of Texas with Capital Farm Credit. Together, we're better. And with that, we're going to have Coach Chavez on here in a moment, but I want to talk a little bit about what I saw last week down in Early. A 7-6 come from behind win over Brock, and they were down 6-2. To a Brock team that's, as always, I mean, solid with good pitching and with a lot of confidence. That's not easy to do, and this is not something that Early would have done. That's why I say they may have turned a corner, this at least mentally. They've been consistently good under Chavez, but we would not have seen a come from behind rally of this nature against a team like Brock as recently as just a few years ago. This team has not only been good, but I think it's turned a mental corner now. This is a team that they really, I mean, they came into that ballgame thinking they could win. They had the confidence to do it, and they pulled it off.
And what's interesting is I think that's kind of athletic program wide now. I think that's something you've seen the last couple of years, where Early in all of these programs is getting more confident in these types of matchups. Obviously, on the boys' side, Brock has some teams where you're going to have to compete at just an extraordinarily high level to compete. But I think that the Early is kind of, gotten that monkey off their back and kind of that mental chip. They've kind of broken through that to where they come into these games, wanting to compete, expecting to compete. You look at what their baseball team's done the last, couple of years. They're competing with anybody right now. So, and then softball is getting there as well. And this was a big win for them in that regard. But we talked several years ago with Coach Blake Sanford. That was a goal of his when he was at it, was wanting to kind of get his athletic program to a point where they were, enthusiastic about those types of matchups, confident about those types of matchups. And then that's only continued with Coach Price taking over. So we're seeing a lot of good things happening Early right now, and I think that what's happening with the softball program is reflecting that.
Program wide, there's a confidence boost that we're seeing in Early. I think it started with football, and it's carried over. There's an effect that a successful football program can have on the entire program overall. If the entire program doesn't revolve around football, and that's the way they run things in Early. They want an overall good program, but it doesn't revolve around football. But when that football team starts to win and they've gotten out of the doldrums like the way they have, I think it's helped Early athletics overall. Period.
Yeah, and I think on the girls' side, you've seen that too. They had a young team that made some strides this past season in girls basketball. That was kind of helped you kind of springboard into this as well. But the Early softball programs had some success over the years and just continues to get better, and it has really been fun to watch. But I think that I do think that there is something to that, to where when you are going to the playoffs consistently, sport after sport after sport, I think there is kind of a carryover effect to that. And along the same lines, I think that also makes what Bangs softball is doing right now pretty impressive. Is that's an athletic program that has largely struggled across quite a few sports, but this softball team is playing at a really high level, and obviously that's a good thing for them. And I think sometimes it can be a program like that. One program having success can kind of spark a fire. So hopefully maybe we'll see that not far from Early over in Bangs.
Well, that may help. That may help everybody in that district, as competitive as it is. I mean, we have good teams from Brock and Peaster and Bangs. in there with early, and it may help them come postseason play to, maybe do some damage in that region one bracket.
And this is going to be one of those districts that whether you get the district champion or the fourth place team, you're not going to be really excited about your matchup. These are four really good teams. It's going to be fun to see how that shakes out with them playing across the by district with District 7. But just looking at the depth of this district, when you're talking about a Brock team, I mean, Brock has kind of run that district. This is a Brock program that's been to state several times. To see them right now, having just lost early, looking up at Bangs, that's kind of a neat situation for those programs, for the earlies and the Bangs is, obviously that's a big point of pride because Brock has been in such a strong athletic program that when you're competing with them at that level, you're doing well.
And in the case of Brock and Early, they're both young teams, so they're only going to get better over the next few years.
Yeah, but that's going to be a really fun district race to follow, and I'm excited to talk to Coach Chavez about that because I'm sure it's more fun for us to watch maybe than for him to play in or to coach through. But at the same time, I'm sure you're in this because you enjoy competition. They're going to get plenty of it in this district race.
Before we bring on Coach Chavez, we want to thank some of our sponsors. Obviously, Capital Farm Credit that brings you these Wednesday night podcasts throughout the school year, but also for the love of the game, broadcasting on our old friend Terry Slavens, owner of K-Lakes 93.5 FM out of Breckenridge, 97.7 KATX FM out of Eastland, Classic Country AM 1330 out of Graham, 94.7 FM KWKQ out of Graham, KROO 1430 out of Breck. That's an AM station, and KWBY 98.5 FM out of Ranger. That's for the love of the game broadcasting. Also, Rob Durham, sales consultant up there at Bayer Chevrolet Buick Cadillac up in Breckenridge. He's one of the nicest guys you'll ever want to meet. If you're in the market for a new vehicle or used, give him a shout at 254-559-2266. That's Rob Durham, sales consultant up at Bayer Chevrolet Buick Cadillac in Breckenridge. And finally, Phil Hill of the Abilene Realtors Group, big supporter of local athletics. If you're in the market, give him a shout at 325-669-5153 or go to his website at philhillproperties.com. And with that, it is time, Mr. Youngblood, to bring on Coach Chavez, who I think he's done a fine job, really, overall at Early. They've built a consistent winner at Early. They missed the playoffs last year, but those things happen. But generally, during the course of his career, they've been more than respectable. They've been a very solid program, usually in the playoffs. And I was impressed with the way they performed against a very good Brock team last week. And I'm mentally, I think that the program is kind of turned, like I said, kind of turned a corner. And I'm going to talk to him a little bit about that.
Yeah. I mean, that's a big win. But I think one thing that's interesting, and you kind of just touched on it, is that they did miss the playoffs last year. But I think once the sign, I think, of a good program and one that's been built well is that you may have a down year, but it doesn't last. And that they've bounced right back, and they're playing really, really good softball. Now, if you look at some of their run totals, they are really clobbering the ball. They're routinely scoring in the double figures, and they're getting good pitching, which is a good thing because they've got some youth in that area. So, yeah, I think all signs are positive right now, and it'll be exciting to talk to Coach Chavez about that. And it looks like he's just about ready to join us.
And joining us now via Zoom, Early softball coach Alfonso Chavez. Coach, thank you so much for joining us.
No problem. I'm glad to join y'all.
Coach, you're off to a great start. Tell us about the keys thus far to your success early on.
Well, the keys right now to early success is a lot of my kids have played. They play select ball throughout the whole year. So that's been a key to it. We have one senior that's been really good leading the younger kids, trying to get them along. So that's been really our key. Them coming in with really good knowledge about the game is another. I mean, they're coming in. We're not having to go back and teach quite a bit. It's just going forward with a lot of the stuff they're already coming in with.
Coach, obviously, y'all are coming off that big win last week over Brock, but y'all are in the midst of a really tight district race with you guys, Brock, Bangs, all three playing really well. Just kind of what are your thoughts on that district this year and kind of that race?
It's going to be tight. We're not, it's going to be one of those districts where anybody can win it right now. Anybody can take charge right now. It's just going to come down who makes the less mistakes. Brock's really good. Bangs is really good. I haven't really seen Peaster play. We play him tomorrow. We'll see how that goes, but it's going to be tight. It's going to be a tight race. Right now, I think Peacher's only lost one game as well. So it's going to be really tight. It's going to be something that's going to go to the very end.
All right, and Coach, just in looking what y'all done so far, y'all put a lot of runs on the board. That's been kind of a consistent thing for you guys, just really hitting the ball well. Just what to what do you attribute that success at the plate so far?
So far, it's been these girls that come in. They get a lot of them go to D-bats. They come in with a lot of experience. We just tweak them as they go. If they come in hitting, 400 or 500 for the season, we really don't mess with them as much. But it's just tweaking. A lot of our batting stuff that we do is just muscle memory, just, get the same muscle working every single time at bat. And it's worked. I think we're hitting 442 as a team this year. We're putting up a lot of runs. Our main thing is defense, to keep playing our defense and keep the other side, in check.
Coach, tell us about freshman pitcher Tegan Lopez.
Oh my God.
She got the win the other night against Brock. She got the game-winning hit the other night against Brock. But she's showing a lot of poise for a freshman. She's got some pop. She's got some movement. Tell us, bodes well for the future, having this girl.
Oh, it holds really well. Tegan Kent comes in as a freshman. She hadn't played a little bit. She didn't throw as much during the summer as we'd like. Right now, she's starting to peak out. She has quite a few pitches. We can go to the changeup quite a bit if we need to. She has a really good changeup, a really good curveball. We'd like to use the changeup to keep batters off balance. And she's coming in. She has a lot of confidence in herself. We have a good defense behind her. And even at the plate, she's been really consistent at the plate. I believe she's hitting a little bit above 400. I'm a stats person. I was kind of figuring her stats the other day, or actually today, and coming up to bat the other day against Brock. If you put in either, she's going to put base on balls or put it in play. She's a 91% player. It's going to either put it in play or walk. So she's going to put it in play one time or another. And pitching wise, it's getting better and better and better every single week.
And Coach, one thing I noticed just kind of in looking at y'all's body of work to this point is y'all played several bigger schools during the non-district portion of your schedule. Just kind of what was the thought process behind that, just in terms of playing some larger programs and to get ready for district?
Well, we wanted to get away from the local area at first. We went to Midland Greenwood tournament at first. We opened up with Big Spring. Of course, taking a young group with playing a bigger school, they kind of panicked there a little bit. So we kind of lost it out a little bit, too many errors. And that kind of set the tone. We started building from there. We played Midland Greenwood, did really well. Played Plainview, played Lamesa. We played some good schools there. And that was my goal, is to, right from the beginning, throw them into the fire and see where they were actually at, so we could start building from that point on.
Coach, I was there for the Brock win last week, a come from behind win and a thriller against a good program, a solid program, one that you've struggled with over the years. What does it tell us to see you guys finally knock them off in a ball game?
I keep telling the girls, it tells these girls every single time that we've played this year, I said, understand how good you can be. And I think it finally showed up on Friday. They realize how good they can be. And it's just from there, start building from there and get tons and tons better and know what they can do. We can compete with anybody, I think, on the diamond right now.
Coach, it looked, it was a district game, but to see the way your girls responded and acted after they won that game over Brock, you'd have thought they just won a regional semifinal. It meant that much to them.
Oh, yes.
Tell us about that.
It meant a lot to them. It's kind of getting a little monkey off your back. We played them, I'd say 2-3 years ago in the playoff game. We played Colorado City. Then, right after that, we played Brock. Well, we get blown away in 2 games in that series. Last year, our depth in pitching, we had good pitching, but we did not have depth in pitching. We were actually beating them in 3rd, 4th inning. In the end, they would just build from there and beat us. And it's something that, we try to tell the girls, we got to understand, we probably play full games, but now they can see what they can do now that they know we beat a really good team, and Brock is excellent. They have some really good players, and they're young as well. I think they only have carrying 2 seniors this year as well. So beating them really, it puts a really good win in our program, and just build from there. We told them right after the game, understand you are really, really good. You can be a lot better, and build from here. Know full well that you can build from here and do great things.
Coach, you mentioned that Colorado City series. I was out there for that a couple of years ago. Evan obviously noticed this the other day at that Brock game. But one thing about your program is it gets really good support. I mean, y'all's community really backs your team. Just what have you seen just in that regard, just from the fans kind of supporting these girls?
This community supports this program really well. I believe, there was standing room only on Friday. We travel really well. We run camps every summer. We got our little girls coming up, seeing these girls play and looking forward to playing for us. And that's what we want. We want these, the younger kids to want to play for us. So, a lot of the fans that were up there, have these younger kids that are going to be playing for us later on. And our fans are really great. The other day, I mean, I don't think some of them never sat down. They were just at it the whole time. We travel really well. Even to Midland Greenwood, when we went to that tournament, we traveled really well. So our fans are great. They'll keep coming, and, hopefully it'll grow and grow and grow. I believe our program's headed in the right direction right now.
Well, Coach, you've been there for 9 years, and there's a lot of continuity in that, and that helps the growth of the program. And everybody that's coming up through junior high is familiar with you, and you've had a chance to work with them and talk with them and all that. Right. Tell us how much that continuity's helped.
Oh, it's helped tons. Some of these girls have been, that now that are freshmen have been to our camps before, and some of the girls coming up, some of our 7th graders, have been to our camps before. We'll hold a camp again this summer, and we just build from there, try to build those relationships with those younger girls. I try to make it as much of the middle school games I can. If the girls ask me, hey, we're playing this weekend, I try to make it out there so they can see us out there and just get that relationship going early with these girls. So when they come up, they know what we're about, and we've already been talking to them, and the relationship's already there.
And Coach, you kind of mentioned the potential this team has, and kind of getting to them to be convinced of how good they can be. I guess this is kind of a 2-pronged question, but first, just how good can this team be? And then second, for a coach who has been at it a while, how much does a team like this, where you have that type of potential, that type of enthusiasm, how much does that energize you as well?
Oh, it energizes me quite a bit right now. I know that this team, I don't know how far they'll go this year. We set our team goals. We set team goals, personal goals earlier in the year. And, I tell them every single year we want to go step further. Last year was kind of a down year. We didn't make playoffs for the first time in school history. And that really was a downer. And that kind of motivated me for this year. That's been a motivation. Hey, we got to keep that tradition of going to the playoffs every single year, but at the same time, make a step further into the playoffs. We haven't been in state tournament in a while. My 2 assistant coaches, Case and Janet Taylor, both they were part of those teams that went to the state tournament. So that kind of, brings that relationship into the program as well. They've helped very tremendously with our pitchers. They're both our pitchers in here at Early.
Coach, we're seeing program-wide success at Early now. It's starting to grow. Football's improving. Basketball's getting there. Just about everything that Early is doing now, they're more than respectable. And this wasn't the case, say, 10 years ago. Can you tell us how the culture has changed or is beginning to change?
Well, it's beginning. I think it starts with our athletic director. He came in, build those relationships between your kids. You got to build a relationship with your kids first and work from there, and that goes from the boys program all the way down to the middle school program. You got to build relationships, and that's what he's really bringing in. He's really focused on relationships with our kids to get to know them, them to get to know us, and to build it from there. And I think that itself has put the kids trust us, we trust the kids, and that's where our program is really growing.
Coach, thank you for joining us. We appreciate your time. We will definitely be keeping an eye on you and that very difficult district that you are in. It's going to be fun to watch down the stretch. Best of luck to you.
Thank you.
And that was early softball coach Alfonso Chavez. And it's going to be interesting to really see how this district turns out. And I'm convinced that a number of these teams are going to make a nice run postseason.
Yeah, they definitely have that opportunity. I mean, these are good, in a lot of cases, tradition-rich programs. They're only making each other better in these matchups in district. I mean, who knows how it's going to shake out in terms of the district race, but I don't think it necessarily matters that much if these teams are all playing as well as they can be going to the playoffs. So I think you do have 3 or 4 teams certainly capable of making a playoff run. It's going to be really fun to see how that shakes out. But
you never know about a young team.
No,
and you have a freshman pitcher. You have a lot of you just don't have a whole lot of senior leadership, so you never know how they're going to respond in the postseason. But right now, I think they're showing a lot of poise, considering their age.
And one thing that's interesting too is sometimes with a team like that, I mean, they don't know any better, so they get on a roll and they just ride that wave. So it's gonna be fun to see if they can do that. But in any event, this is gonna be a really fun district to follow, a really fun team to follow with Early. Same with Bang, same with Brock. I mean, these are good fun teams to follow, and it was good that we were able to get Coach Chavez on here to talk about his squad.
And with that, it's just about time to wrap up the Capital Farm Credit Wednesday night podcast. But before we do that, we want to remind you that we got 3 separate subscription packages here at bigcountrypreps.com. We've got a monthly for $5 a month. We've got a semi-annual 6-month subscription where you knock that price down to $4 a month. And then we've got an annual 12-month subscription where you knock the price down to $3 a month. $36 for a full year of Big Country High School athletic coverage. You can't beat it.
And we'd also like to remind you that if you see a photo you like in any one of our galleries, those are available for purchase. You can purchase a digital download for $7. We also have some keepsakes and prints available, so make sure you check those out. As you're scrolling through the site, you'll notice pretty quickly that we take a lot of photos from these games that we're at. It's something we enjoy doing and something we're very proud of here at bigcountrypreps.com.
All Big Country, all high school, all the time. Welcome home.